Alright fellas, here we are back at Pokemon Masters, and so tomorrow we get the release of Sygna Suit, Lear Gholdengo, a Master Fair Sync pair. I guess you could probably call him part 2 of the anniversary, in some respect or form, but he is not only our first Sprint Master Fair, but I believe he's our first Steel Master Fair. I could be wrong about that, but I don't think I am. And we of course got Arc Suit Steven, so I mean, not really our first non-Poke Fair, you know, that type of limited unit, but still, first Master Fair Steel type, that's awesome. Still also not the first Master Passive, because we have Registeel, but you get what I mean, either way. So, that's awesome. In two regards, he's the first of something, which is great. But he's a Master Fair that drops on, of course, on September 17th, leaves October 1st. 2 weeks to pull for him is very suspect. Not great when you consider the Arc Fairs and Nemona and all that jazz. That's just, well, that's rough. Okay, so yeah. Anyway, whatever. He's a Steel type, weak to fire, all that good stuff, and he's great. This guy is great, and the anniversary Steel types, good lord, like, we got Arc Suit Steven, who's, in my opinion, the best character in the game. We got Anniversary Lily, who's one of the best free characters in the game. We got BP Rose, another very good free character, some very good flinch utility and gauge efficiency, defense debuffing, all of that stuff, right? Like, he's pretty good too for being free as well. But now we've got a Master Fair damage dealing, effectively damage dealing, Steel type as well. Like, what? Are they trying to make Steel the best type in the game for new players or something? Because that's kind of how this is going. Whatever. Anyway, so I really do like Sygna Suit Lear, honestly. I'm not the biggest on his hair. I think that's one thing that I'm not really that big on, but like, I do like the outfit, and I do like the glasses. I will be summoning for him. This is gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. But of course, he's with Gholdengo. And I guess we'll just go ahead and get started with this. So, looking at his stats, 660 health, 185 in defenses, 448 special attack, and 351 speed. Great stats. These are great stats. The defenses could be better, but of course with 6-star EX unlocked, 225 defenses is far better, 760 health, similar case. 488 special attack and 391 speed. Full investment because he has the Strike EX roll. Very good. 552 special attack, 235 defenses, 409 speed, and 850 health. This guy's gonna be hitting like a goddamn freight train so far anyway. Like the offensive stats like really helping out. He's really carrying there. Anyway, looking at the moves, he's got Make It Rain, Gholdengo's signature move, lowering his special attack by 1. It's a 4-gauge move, 176 minimum power, up to 211. With 3 out of 5 investment, it is 193, so nearly 200. It's definitely not bad. But obviously he's got mitigation for special attack debuffs. You know, he's got this passive here, prevents stat debuff, so don't worry about the special attack debuffing here. That doesn't exist, trust me. So, the big worry, of course, is that it's an AoE move. Of course, split damage is not that great, but offensive stat being as high as it is, and the fact he's got the Strike EX roll, he's probably going to be able to cover some sides without much worry. So, at the very least, he got that. He's got Pasio Solidarity, 2-gauge, 2-use move, increases physical and special moves next to allies by 1 rank, applies the Pasio Defensive Circle, powers up moves of all allies by 5% and reduces damage by 10%, and applies a maximum power buff of up to 20% to the team and up to 25% damage reduction. So he's got a defensive circle that relies on the Pasio theme skill. He is introducing the Pasio theme skill to the game. And of course, he does also have the Pasio Flag Bearer, powering up ally moves by 10%, up to 30% power buff, and applying 20% damage reduction, up to 26% damage reduction, of course. I don't think it's going to be that great to try at all and optimize him for running Pasio. Like, he'll be fine running oh boy, not what we're looking for here. Is that, hold on. Why is that my only, why is my filter oh no. Where's my main character at? Hold on. Why is that, where'd they go? Why is the main character not on? Okay, theme skills, I guess theme skills have not been updated yet for older characters. So it would seem. Okay, so that's something to know. Anyway, Pasio theme skill, not that great. It just includes the main character, Tina, Sawyer, Rachel, Paulo, and Lear himself, right? So we're going to be getting... The bigger partners that you can probably run with Lear are like Sawyer, in the new variety Sawyer, Rachel, and the new variety Rachel, which I'm not going to be overviewing the Rachel and Sawyer, by the way, mostly because I forgot about them until now and I don't have time. Apologies. The main character who has like 500,000 sync pairs, right? Like all the BP units, Solgaleo, Torchic, Pikachu, all the Eggmons, all of those should have Pasio. Paolo, of course, as well. Tina. I think the best options to run with him are probably the new variety Sawyer and Rachel. They do buff Lear a good bit, but other than that, his partners are not that fantastic. Main character Solgaleo does have like steel synergy, so you could do an Arc Suit Steven thing where you got his max Arc Suit passive, and then you got the Pasio bits with Lear. That's not bad, but also Solgaleo is not the greatest sync pair, especially with Lily existing and just being outright better. Probably would be a better addition to the team than the few additions that you could get from having the Circle and the Master Passive with Lear activated. So I think, like, obviously you're going to be getting a buff from the Circle and the Master Passive and all that junk, right? Like, you're going to be getting a power buff, damage reduction, all that good stuff, but it's not really something that's worth maximizing or at least considering maximizing for team building, right? Like, generally, I think you mostly build around characters being good with synergy naturally, other than being region-based. Like, for example, using Neo Champion Red and Eriott together, you don't really care about their Master Passes because... Well, for one, they've got their own each, so they're applying a bigger buff anyway. But also, even if they didn't, they synergize really well together naturally, so you don't really care about running another partner and all of that. It just so happens also that, like, some of the best partners for, like, example, again, Red is, like, Chase, who is a Kanto character who also applies the Kanto Circle. That synergy just kind of exists naturally, though Chase was probably also made with that in mind, but still. It's less that you should be trying to build around these master passives, and more so something that you should probably let happen naturally, or at the very least consider just, you know, the better end of the sync pairs that fit under that, which Lear doesn't really have. There's no real top tier support sync pair to like pair with him, or partner just in general, that would be worthwhile to work under his master passive and Circle. Anyway, bit of a tangent. Behold my Kingly Shine, the trainer move applying gauge acceleration, raising special attack by 6 and crit by 3. What else is there to say? Maxing offenses, applying gauge acceleration. It's great. Precious Make It Rain, the buddy move. 300 minimum power, 360 maximum. Targets all enemies. Activated when using a sync move. Deactivated when used. It's a Ray, Champion Silver, Champion Marnie, whoever the fuck else type of sync move, right? Or buddy move. It's just one of those generic ones where it's going to be doing a crap load of damage, but can only be used once per sync cycle. And of course, being sprint does obviously, you know, help with that, and that's probably why they gave it to him, is that you can get to your sync move faster, and you can get another one of these things fired out. It lowers target special defense by 3, applies free moves next to all allies, and the power is not lowered even if there are multiple targets. So instead of making it flinch like a lot of the other characters, it is giving you debuffs and free moves next. Granted, Raze also gives debuffs, but whatever. Point being, he's got a lot of debuffs, and the free moves next is very nice for some gauge efficiency. Not too bad, honestly. Definitely not bad. Special defense debuffs by 3 on all enemies, and the power not being lowered if there are multiple targets is really good, and that's going to be helping out a lot with Make It Rain damage, because again, it is a split damaging move, so the ability to mitigate the fact that he is dealing split damage is obviously great, other than just outright KOing the enemies, which he'll be doing regardless anyway. Passive skills, he's got Golden Authority, raising user stats, the user stats cannot be lowered. I don't know more what I was going off with that, but stat debuff immunity is great. Prevents the user from being afflicted with status conditions, flinching, trap, and confusion. So, you know, status condition immunity, status change immunity, everyone like rebuff or whatever, but, and then also stat debuff immunity. Great stuff. Combining like 3 different passive skills into one. That's what these tend to do anyway, but that's still really good. So that's nice to not have to worry about any of that stuff. Would be better if you had like vigilance. Anyway, Royal Fortune grants the following effects when the Pasio Circle defensive applies to the ally field to play. powers up moves and sync moves of all allied pairs. Stats cannot be lowered for all allied pairs and prevents all allies from being inflicted with status conditions and then confusion, flinch, and traps. So not only is he protecting himself with the Golden Authority passive, he's also able to apply it to the team with the Royal Fortune passive, sharing his wealth, so to speak, and also applying a power buff to the team as well, to the moves and sync move damage, which is of course going to apply to himself as well. So that's a free multiplier that he's got on his own. This is likely a 20% passive. There is, the chance it's up like 30%, up to maybe 50%. That'd be pretty damn nuts, though, and I really doubt they would do that. So it's likely a 20% multiplier for ally damage. That's very nice, right? Especially if you want to maybe like run another character's run like another character's nuke instead of his, which you can, right? You can run Arcsuit Steven, Lear, and then whoever you want, like, in the last slot, mostly. Like, let's say Anniversary Lily, maybe. Maybe you want to use her sync move, get her Sprint EX roll plus the Steel Zone up, then you're, of course, able to power up her sync move, and it's obviously going to be able to work out very, very well. So, being able to power up allies damage and sync move damage is very good. He's, again, sharing that wealth. And then trainer move sync countdown 9, reducing sync countdown by 1 when the user's trainer uses a move. Imagine it reduce it by 9. That'd be crazy. But yeah, reducing sync countdown when the trainer uses a move. This is nice. He's got 3 uses of trainer moves here, so the free sync countdown from that is good. Again, he's a sprint character, so you do want to be able to utilize sync countdown very effectively anyway, so the fact that he can is nice. I do think it would have been better to make this in conjunction with like a -1 on the trainer move via, he might have it in the grid, I don't actually remember, but if you give him -1 sync countdown on the trainer move here, and then have this as a double sync countdown lowering passive, that could be nice. That'd be very fun, especially for a sprint master fair. But alas, it's still a good passive, right? Could be combined with some other sprint characters, like again, Anniversary Lily is probably the best example right now because she's the most recent and is actually a sprint steel type. Or just whoever else you really want to work them with. Maybe like Chase as a support or just any other sprint character. So overall, not too bad. Definitely not a bad base kit, for sure. In terms of the sync move, he's got King's Golden Authority, Make It Rain, applying sync countdown, -3 sync countdown when using the sync move, and with the EX roll unlocked, targets all enemies. His attack power is increased when a circle applies to the allied field of play, so the Pasio circle does have to be active, right? That is obvious for sure. So not too bad of a character. He does have that little bit of an innate multiplier here with this passive, so he does actually have some damage enhancement. So his Make It Rain has a little bit of a passive, extra multiplier going for it. On top of having the master passive and the circle as well, which gives special moves next too. Consider that. And then the once a sync cycle use of Precious Make It Rain, which is also able to debuff special defense, so there's an extra damage enhancement for himself. And of course all allies who are special attacking. Some sync countdown utility, the immunity for debuff, status changes, and status conditions, and that same immunity being applied to all allies when the circle is applied. That's very nice. He's got damage reduction stuff, powering up stuff, debuffs. There's a lot going into that, so Lear's definitely got a good kit for sure. He's a good damage dealer with a lot of good utility to like keep himself protected, I guess. The debuff immunity is nice, the status change immunity is all nice, all that stuff, and keep himself healthy with like damage reduction and whatnot. So that's definitely nice. He's got a lot of safety nets as a damage dealing character, and sync countdown of being an actual dedicated sprint. Only real problem I have with him is that he does not have much cohesion with other Pasio characters, so you can't really build around that. Which again, I stated, not really something you're going to try to do anyway, but the fact that he can't really even do it purposefully, not effectively at the very least, is, not great, but it's still far more than made up for by everything else that he has, no doubt. So looking at the grid, I guess at 1 out of 5, he's got literally nothing. Not even a friggin' unflappable tile, which he can't use anyway, so probably why it has nothing. 2 out of 5, he gets Fighting Guard, Fast Track 9, Trainer Move Hit and Heal, Circle HP Recovery, Circle Gauge Up, and Trainer Move MPR. I guess also Make It Rain MPR too. Fighting Guard, I mean, there's... Sure, right? Mostly probably for fighting. I don't know if Cobalion uses fighting moves, I don't remember, but Terracion's got, I guess, Sacred Swords and whatnot, so Fighting Guard and stuff helps with that, and that Legendary Arena. I can't think of many other fighting stages, I guess, the Noland Ultimate Battle, though I'm not really sure. That stage is more of a damage guard / dodge check than anything, so not really something, trying to guard against the damage is not going to help, and also the most scary attacks aren't even fighting, so it's a decent enough passive, I guess, if you can find a niche for it. Fast Track 9 for gauge management purposes, nothing really crazy outside of that. It's fine, it exists. Same thing with Make It Rain, Gauge Refresh. Again, these are mostly just gauntlet related abilities. Outside of that, nothing really crazy. Because he also does have the free moves next when using his Make It Rain buddy move, so gauge efficiency is not as necessary with that, but again, in a case where you're like trying to do solos or duos with him, it's going to be more helpful. Same thing with Circle Gauge charging here. Circle HP recovery, give him a little bit more HP recovery, or, well, I guess recovery in general, because he doesn't really have any otherwise. He's got damage reduction, but not really any recovery. Combining that with train move Hit and Heal, and so he's got pretty much 2 instances of recovery on top of having train move NPR to get multiple instances of gradual healing is going to be good for helping with his sustainability, and again, having the damage reduction passives already and decent enough defensive stats on top of having very effective damage. These are just the best abilities, to have for any, like, if you're trying to like make a character work well enough in a legendary gauntlet stage, at least for a duo, having some gauge management here and some recovery / damage mitigation stuff here is obviously good to have. Like outside of that, like if you're trying to face ultimate battles or like Champion Stadium or whatever, none of these abilities are going to be super duper helpful, and obviously that's where the 3 to 5 comes in, which is going to apply pretty much everything else. Sync Burst 1, Brain Power. Furious Brain, Sync Nodes, Circle Team stuff up, yeah. Pasio Circle extension here. Train to Move Special Boost 2, and I guess Vigilance, sure. And also Pasio Solidarity Team Smart Command. Okay. That is a mouthful. Okay. So, he's got Brain Power, which combined with his innate sync move effect gives him 200% multipliers. That's great. 200% multipliers off of a 552, maximized, right? Special attack stat, that's amazing. That's a great sync nuke. That's going to be very, very good for like strike standards, but also the fact that it's a sprint character, this is great. That's a great sync move. Furious Brain, an actual multiplier. Combine that with the 20%, probably 20% that he gets from this passive, and he's got another instance of that, powering up allies' moves and sync moves when the circle is applied to the eye field to play. This is another instance of 20% powering up for all allies. I cannot really stress enough that for one, that is a multiplier for him. So what is likely about 40% in multipliers for his own damage and sync damage, and again 30% with Furious Brain for up to 70%, not counting lucky skills, right? All that's going to be good for his damage. But this is also 40%, again, probably 40%, for all allies. Anniversary Lily. Let's just assume you're running him with Arcsuit Steven, so you're going to go for like a max steel team. Anniversary Lily, Poppy, Celine, Rose, Tate. All of these characters are going to be benefiting so much from that. That's a massive, massive amount of damage increase, especially on top of it already having the circle, already having the master passive, already being under Steven's rebuff and his own Arcsuit passive, right? That is so much damage enhancement for the team. Steel is absurd. Lear, this is alone is what is kind of making Lear quite nuts here, is the fact that you're able to apply this at pretty much at minimum 40% power buff to ally moves and sync move damage. This is going to make a lot of other steel types look stupidly powerful. Like, I can't stress that enough. Like, if Arcsuit Steven didn't exist, I would say that Lear is the best enhancement for pretty much, for one, any character in the game, but also if you're trying to run him with other steel types, the best ones for that. And again, let's just go out and not even consider steel types for a second. Let's say you're running him with like just a general special attacking team. Arcsuit Lance, very strong special attacking damage dealer, right? He can debuff special defense, all of that help out Lear. Lear can also debuff special defense AoE, so Lance doesn't have to focus on maybe debuffing the side special defense and all that stuff if you don't really want to do that. Good enhancement there, very good enhancement. Again, 40% power buff to allies. Just keep going down the list for other like special attackers, like Celine, right? She does need a circle activated, so Lear also does that. I think she needs just a circle, not just a Lola, right? I need to read. Let's see. Skip preparation when a circle applies to the eye field to play. So so she can work with Lear because she needs a circle for her move to be one turn, right? So she can synergize with Lear in that regard, right? Clara can be special depending on how much special moves up next she has, right? Just keep going down the list. Pretty much any special attacking character is going to be benefiting so much from Lear. And sorry, not even special, just physical as well. because he does it for both types. So literally any character in the game that you put Lear with is going to be getting 40% power buff on top of the master passive in the circle. Just put him with anyone and you can see a noticeable damage enhancement that's going to be equivalent of like a zone or -2 rebuff. Like he's pretty much supplementing ally damage by acting again as like a zone character in his own right, just for pretty much existing and having the field up, the Pasio circle up. That's nuts. And again, that doesn't even mean you can't stack it with zone. You can stack it with, you know, if you're running him, for example, with Chuck, you can still pop on Aura Cynthia, have the fighting zone up, and you're going to town. I can't really stress enough how powerful this is. This plus, sorry, not just this, but also the fact that he has 2 instances of it. 2 instances of 20% power buffs on top of the master passive in the circle is nuts. He's also got Sync Burst, giving him extra usage of the circle on top of having Circle Extension 3. I think the worst thing about this is that he does not have NPR, so he's limited to 3 uses because of Sync Burst, and that this is not Extension 5. Those are easily the worst things about this, but pretty much with the power buff that you're applying, most things are going to be dead. Because not only are you applying good team damage enhancement, you are applying damage enhancement to Lear himself, who is really strong. Nearly 200 base power move, 330 base power buddy move, which is going to be, again, every sync cycle, and a 200% in total multipliers sync move. That's really strong. Other than that, he's got like trainer move special boost too, so if you want to like ramp up some special moves next, that can be good. I mostly really wouldn't even worry about this. Everything else is just better, but that's nice. And then vigilance for crit protection, as I said, in this, it'd be nice if it had crit protection. Well, he's got it here, so cool. By the way, I mean, having that's nice if you want to run a different lucky skill, but you still need crit protection, you can do that. Not really necessary most of the time, but hey, it's fine. Other than that, he's also got Pasio Solidarity, Team Smart Command 9, special moves next buffs when using the move, so not only do you get the +1 special moves next and physical moves next for using it in general, you now get an extra special moves next, applying extra special buffs to the whole team, so again, that kind of does help out more with him wanting to run with potential special attacking characters because of his special defense debuffs and extra special attacking buffs that you're able to apply to the team. Oh, sorry, special moves next buffs. Either way, whatever, not really. It's a great tile, it can be a great tile, but for one, you're probably not going to have enough energy for it. So let's mostly try building around this. These, in my opinion, are must-haves. These tiles are way too valuable if you are trying to focus on the team as a whole. Like, having the circle up and maintaining that and having the power buff to all allies, I think is just too valuable to have, especially because it also acts effectively as a 20% multiplier for Lear himself. I would say this is kind of what you're working with. This maxes out his sync nuke, this gives him a 20% multiplier, gives him extra uses of the circle, and it gives him a sync node. I really don't like missing out on Furious Brain, but the fact of the matter is that his move's already pretty strong. He's going to be having some multipliers already because of the instance of this passive and then this passive, again, around 40% multipliers total, not counting lucky skills either. And he's going to be applying team damage enhancement. So is it really better to try, is it better to like get rid of like Sync Burst and maybe even up to Brain Power to try and, okay, sorry, you can get rid of that just fine, right? Like we can run +6 energy here, you just get rid of Sync Burst. But that only gives you 2 instances of Pasio Solidarity, which you can run. You might be able to run, that might be good. I would probably have to try it out in game first before I really make a big validated judgment on that. Maybe it's not that big of a deal to only have 2 instances of it. I'm not really sure. But is it really worth it to get a 30% multiplier for himself, or is it worth it to extend the duration of team 40% damage enhancement on top of the extra damage enhancement that they're getting from already also just straight up having the circle up, which is, I believe, 10%, right? Because Lear also counts as a Pasio ally, so it's 10% power buff, so 5% plus, again, he's 5% himself, so 10% on top of the 20% here, and what is likely 20% here. So just having the circle up is a 50% power buff to the whole team, basically, right, for their moves and sync moves. And is it really worth it to give him a 30% multiplier when he could just have that back up? Have that up for a longer time? Probably not, but really, again, that's mostly going to be up to the players and how they want to, and pretty much anyone who wants to, try and make that work. I mean, I would honestly say that's really all it's between. I would say everything else is pretty much mandatory. You're not getting this sync node. Like, 07 to that sync node is not going to happen, I would say pretty much. And it's not really worth trying to make happen either. This is you're either building this grid or you're building this grid. Most probably. That's about all I can really see being built with this guy, and at least that makes it simple. And of course, if you're in like a legendary gauntlet or something, you're going to be running something different, like fast track maybe. Trainer move hit and heal is probably just a given. Same with circle HP recovery, all of that good stuff. I mean, that's all completely fair. And at that point, maybe you would pick up Furious Brain. Just helps out the damage more directly. But point being, in most game modes, like Ultimate Battles, probably high score events, whenever we get a Steel type one, and whatever other event, I think these are probably going to be the optimal like grids to run. One of these two. That's mostly what I run. That's mostly what I'm going to be running when I do the showcases. I probably will just straight up forego doing the 1 out of 5 Lear showcase in favor of just doing a 3 out of 5 the X-Roll showcase, simply because I don't really have too much time to be doing showcases of both types, and most people just want to see one anyway, so no point in sacrificing my time just to put out something that will probably end up underperforming anyway. So I'm just going to do the 3 out of 5 the X-Roll showcase, and I really am probably going to enjoy that because this guy looks really fun. He's got a ton of team enhancement with all the different passives he's got in the circle and master passive, all that good junk. He's got great damage with his own Precious Make It Rain buddy move, and the Make It Rain damage can be easily supplemented by all of his enhancement to himself and his team, and the special defense debuffs he can apply as well. It can really help out there. He's got great spread damage. A 200% Sygna is going to be very effective for KOing enemies, so enemy side, so you won't be having to deal with that for very long, and so your Make It Rain damaging option will become single target probably soon enough. But yeah, whatever. I don't have much else to say. I think Lear is great, very, very good Master Fair. I don't think he's like the best Master Fair of the year. I mean, maybe. I'd have to think about it, honestly. We'd have to. I think it's more so like a see how he is in game first. He's probably got potential. I mean, that enhancement for the team while also being a great damage dealer is just really, really strong. Not best Master Fair of the game, best Master Fair of the year. Just, for now. And also, obviously not including Arc Fairs, because duh. Anyway, whatever. I'll see you later. Hope you all enjoyed. Good looking at your summons for Sygna Suit Lear, as well as, I guess, Variety Slayer and Rachel, if you are going to go for them. Yeah, peace.